I adjusted my Tom Ford suit, worth more than my stepfather Richard's monthly salary, as I watched the catering staff plate another round of hors d'oeuvres in the kitchen of the Grand Meridian Hotel. The sounds of clinking glasses and fake laughter drifted in from the ballroom where Sterling Industries' annual gala was in full swing. "Can't have you embarrassing the family out there," Richard had smirked, directing me to the kitchen entrance. "Besides, someone needs to make sure the help stays in line." If only he knew that while he was playing corporate king at his mid-level management position, I'd spent the last 5 years building River Capital into one of the most aggressive private equity firms in the industry. Sterling Industries was about to become our latest acquisition. The papers would be signed at 9 a.m. tomorrow. "Mr. Rivers," whispered Maria, the catering manager who'd been briefed on my real identity, "your team just confirmed. Everything's set for tomorrow." I nodded slightly, watching through the kitchen doors as my stepsister Jennifer paraded around in her designer dress, dropping her father's title into every conversation. Vice President of Operations sounded impressive, until you realized he managed a department of 12 people in a company of thousands. My phone buzzed silently, a message from Sarah, my chief of staff. "Final contracts ready. Board votes confirmed. Sterling Industries management has no idea what's coming." I typed back, "How's our friend Richard's department performing?" "Down 40% year-over-year. Perfect justification for immediate restructuring." Through the door I could see Richard holding court near the open bar, probably sharing his greatest hits of business wisdom. Gems like, "Know your place," and "Success is about who you know," the same lectures he'd given me while trying to relegate me to menial roles in his company. "Tell that scholarship kid to send up more champagne," Jennifer's voice carried into the kitchen. "Daddy needs his glass refreshed." Scholarship kid. Their favorite way of reminding me that I hadn't come from money, that my acceptance to business school had depended on academic merit rather than family connections. They never understood that watching them waste opportunities had taught me more about business than their country club memberships ever could. My phone lit up again, this time with a message from the hotel manager. "Everything prepared for tomorrow's breakfast meeting, Mr. Rivers. Richard Sterling's usual table has been reassigned." "Perfect," I replied, straightening my Patek Philippe watch. The kind of subtle wealth Richard could only dream of. "Make sure the kitchen staff is ready for their new trainee." Jennifer appeared at the kitchen door, her face flushed from expensive champagne. "God, Michael, are you still hiding back here? Daddy's right, you really don't understand how business works." I smiled politely, thinking about the acquisition documents waiting in my office. "Just learning the operations from the ground up." She rolled her eyes, already turning away. "Whatever. Just make sure they keep the drinks flowing. Daddy's entertaining important people." Important people. Like the mid-level executives who thought Richard had real influence. None of them had noticed that their recent lucky breaks had been carefully orchestrated by River Capital, positioning everything for tomorrow's takeover. "More champagne for the VIP table," Maria announced, giving me a knowing look. "Should we send up the good stuff?" "No," I smiled. "Let them enjoy their last night of pretending they can afford it." Through the doors I watched Richard gesturing grandly, probably sharing his vision for Sterling's future. A future that would look very different in about 12 hours. "Living down to expectations again?" My mother's disappointed voice came from behind me. She'd married Richard for his supposed business acumen, never realizing her own son would surpass him in every way. "Just observing," I replied calmly. "It's amazing what you can learn from the kitchen." She shook her head, diamonds glinting jewelry Richard had bought with borrowed prestige. "You could have had a real position in the company if you just played along. Instead, I built something better," I finished silently as she walked away, unaware that her world was about to change dramatically. Sarah appeared silently at my side, tablet in hand. "Final numbers are in. Sterling's stock will be suspended at market open, just before the announcement." I nodded, watching Richard raise another toast to his own importance. "Make sure his access cards are deactivated before he arrives tomorrow. I want his first lesson in his new position to be waiting at the service entrance. Sometimes success isn't about where they seat you. It's about where you end up sitting." And tomorrow I'd be sitting in Richard's chair, right after I showed him to his new position in the kitchen. The gala continued into the night, a parade of inflated egos and borrowed importance. From my vantage point in the kitchen, I watched the drama unfold like a theatrical production where none of the actors realized they were about to be recast. "Another round of drinks for Daddy's table," Jennifer commanded, swaying slightly in her Louboutins. "And make it snappy, he's closing a huge deal." I suppressed a smile, knowing the only deal closing tomorrow wasn't one Richard would be celebrating. Sarah appeared beside me, her tablet displaying real-time updates from our team. "Sir, the transition teams are in position. Security protocols have been updated, and HR has prepared the necessary paperwork for organizational changes." Through the kitchen doors, I could see Richard entertaining what he thought were potential clients, actually analysts from River Capital, gathering final intelligence on Sterling's operations. They played their parts perfectly, feigning impression at his grandiose claims. "We're revolutionizing the industry," he boasted, loud enough to reach the kitchen. "Under my leadership, Sterling's operations division has become a model of efficiency." I pulled up the real numbers on my phone, his division's devastating performance metrics, carefully hidden through creative accounting. Tomorrow those numbers would be very public. "Michael," my mother appeared again, her face pinched with familiar disappointment. "Richard says you refused a junior analyst position. How do you expect to succeed in business if you won't take opportunities?" I straightened my bespoke suit jacket, worth more than Richard's annual bonus. "I have my own approach to business, Mother." "Hiding in kitchens?" she scoffed. "Your stepfather built his career on connections, on being seen in the right places." "Yes," I murmured as she walked away. "Being seen. Not actually doing." My phone buzzed with another update from our legal team. "Stock exchange notified. Trading halt scheduled for 8:55 a.m. Press release embargoed until 9 a.m. Jennifer stumbled back into the kitchen, her speech slightly slurred. "God, this is so embarrassing. My brother, the kitchen monitor. At least Daddy gave you some kind of job." "Some kind of job," I repeated softly, thinking about River Capital's market position, stronger than Sterling Industries' entire portfolio. "How's your job in PR going?" She waved her champagne glass dismissively. "Daddy's promoting me to director next month. Not that you'd understand corporate advancement." I smiled, knowing her promotion would never materialize. "Congratulations. I'm sure you've earned it." "Whatever," she snorted. "Just keep the drinks coming. Daddy's impressing some really important investors." Through the doors, I watched Richard working the room, dropping hints about Sterling's exciting future. He had no idea that future would begin in the hotel's kitchen tomorrow morning. Sarah appeared with another update. "Sir, the kitchen staff has been briefed on tomorrow's special training program. They're quite looking forward to meeting their new trainee." "Excellent," I replied, checking the time. "Make sure Richard's new uniform is ready. Something suitable for his first day in food service." The night wore on, a parade of increasingly intoxicated executives celebrating success they hadn't earned. Richard's voice grew louder, his claims more outlandish, as he promised innovations his department had never delivered. "To Sterling Industries," he called out, raising another glass. "And to my vision for its future." I checked my watch, exactly 12 hours until that vision would shatter completely. Maria, the catering manager, approached with a knowing smile. "Mr. Rivers, we've prepared the special menu for tomorrow's breakfast meeting. Will Mr. Sterling require any dietary accommodations in his new position?" "Just a strong dose of reality," I replied, watching Richard bask in borrowed glory. "Though I doubt he'll find it appetizing." My phone lit up with messages from our transition team. Security protocols updated. All access cards reprogrammed. HR files transferred. New organizational chart ready. Press release finalized. River Capital acquires Sterling Industries in surprise takeover. Through the kitchen doors, the gala reached its peak of oblivious celebration. Richard was now sharing his secrets of success with a group of junior executives. "The key," he pontificated, "is knowing your worth. Never let anyone put you in positions beneath you." I thought about the kitchen uniform waiting in my office, sized perfectly for Sterling Industries' soon-to-be former vice president of operations. Jennifer appeared once more, barely steady on her designer heels. "Daddy wants to know if you've learned anything useful in your little kitchen adventure." "More than you can imagine," I replied, thinking about all the evidence we'd gathered while they thought I was just serving drinks. Tomorrow should be quite educational. She rolled her eyes, turning to leave. Whatever. Some of us have real work to do tomorrow. Yes, I murmured. Some of us definitely do. As the gala finally wound down, I watched Richard make his grand exit, still playing the role of corporate success story. He paused at the kitchen door for one final jab. I hope you've learned your place, he smirked, straightening his tie. The kitchen suits you. I smiled, thinking about tomorrow's headlines. It's certainly been enlightening. Sarah appeared with the final confirmations. All systems ready, all teams in position, all documents prepared for the morning's dramatic revelations. Sir, she said quietly, your new office is ready. Would you like to review the announcement details? No need, I replied, watching Richard's retreating form. Just make sure his new uniform is pressed and ready. After all, we wouldn't want him to be improperly dressed for his first day in food service. Sometimes success isn't about where they put you. It's about where you put them when the tables turn. The next morning I arrived at the Grand Meridian at precisely 8:30 a.m., taking my place at the head of the private dining room table. The same table where Richard had held court just hours before, unaware of how dramatically his world was about to change. Mr. Rivers, Sarah greeted me, tablet ready. Richard Sterling has just arrived at the main entrance. His access card has been deactivated as planned. I watched on the security feed as Richard, nursing what was likely a champagne hangover, repeatedly swiped his keycard at the executive entrance. His confusion turned to indignation as a security guard directed him to the service entrance, his new appropriate point of entry. Sir, the guard was saying, following our script perfectly, all kitchen staff must use the service entrance. New policy as of this morning. Kitchen staff. Richard exploded. Do you know who I am? I'm the Vice President of Operations. Not anymore, I murmured, watching the scene unfold. Time for your new operation. Sarah's tablet chimed with updates. 8:45 a.m. trading halt notification sent. 8:50 a.m. board emergency meeting convened. 8:55 a.m. Sterling Industries stock suspended. 8:59 a.m. acquisition press release queued. Your mother and sister have also arrived, Sarah reported. They're being directed to the main dining room as requested. Perfect timing. I'd arranged for them to have front row seats for Richard's introduction to his new career path. Through the security feed, I watched Richard finally make his way to the service entrance, his face purple with rage. Maria met him there holding his new uniform. Welcome to food service orientation, she said cheerfully. We'll need you to change before entering the kitchen area. This is absurd, he sputtered. I'm here for an executive breakfast meeting. Oh, you'll be at the breakfast meeting, Maria assured him. Just not quite where you expected. My phone buzzed 9 a.m. exactly. Across all major news networks, the announcement was breaking. River Capital acquires Sterling Industries in surprise $2.8 billion takeover. Shall we begin? I asked Sarah, standing to straighten my suit. She smiled, pulling up the morning schedule. The press is assembled in the main dining room. Your mother and sister have been seated with a clear view of the kitchen entrance. I walked through the private passage to the main dining room, emerging onto the small stage that had been set up. The room fell silent as I took my place at the podium, cameras flashing. Good morning, I began, just as Richard was being ushered through the kitchen doors in his new uniform. I'm Michael Rivers, CEO of River Capital, and as of 9 a.m. this morning, the new owner of Sterling Industries. The gasps from the audience were audible. Jennifer, seated in the front row, choked on her mimosa. My mother's face went from confusion to shock as she finally connected the dots. As part of our immediate restructuring, I continued, we'll be implementing some strategic personnel changes. Starting with our food service division. Right on cue, Richard was led out in his crisp white kitchen uniform, complete with a name tag reading trainee. Richard, I called out, enjoying the moment his eyes met mine and recognition dawned. Welcome to your new position. I believe you're familiar with kitchen operations from last night. The cameras swiveled to capture his expression, a perfect mixture of horror and disbelief as he finally understood who really owned his company. This is impossible, he stammered. You were just a scholarship kid? I finished for him. Amazing what one can achieve when they actually learn business instead of just playing at it. Jennifer stood up, wobbling slightly. Daddy, do something. I'm afraid your father can't do anything anymore, I replied calmly. Except perhaps learn proper food service protocols. Starting with this morning's breakfast service. Sarah appeared with a stack of documents, termination papers for most of Sterling's executive team, new organizational charts showing a completely restructured company. Now, I continued, addressing the stunned room, let's discuss the future of Sterling Industries. A future based on merit rather than connections. On actual performance rather than perceived importance. My mother finally found her voice. Michael, you can't do this. We're family. Family. I raised an eyebrow. Like when you supported Richard relegating me to the kitchen. When you dismissed my career choices because they didn't match your social aspirations. The press was eating it up, cameras capturing every moment of Richard's humiliation as he stood in his kitchen whites, watching his corporate empire crumble. Your new supervisor will show you to your station, I told him. I believe there are dishes waiting. Maria appeared, barely concealing her satisfaction. This way, Mr. Sterling. We'll start with basic sanitation procedures. As Richard was led away, I turned back to the assembled press. Sterling Industries will be undergoing a complete transformation. Starting with a new policy on advancement based on merit rather than relationships. Jennifer's makeup was running as she realized her promised promotion would never materialize. My mother sat frozen, her social standing evaporating in real time. Oh, and Richard? I called out as he reached the kitchen doors. The kitchen really does suit you. Consider it a lesson in knowing your true place. The rest of the morning was a blur of press conferences, transition meetings, and watching my former family come to terms with their new reality. Richard spent it learning proper dishwashing techniques. His designer watch replaced with a plastic timer for monitoring cleaning cycles.